Hi, welcome to, I forget the number of Against the Fae Queen. I think it might be part 7. Yeah, part 7. And last session, missing Gilgamesh, the players, well, the operators, a team of operators from the future, escaped the wild hunt in a flea from Central Park across New York, established a new safe house in a defunct clock tower on Staten Island, formerly worked upon by Mr. Clock before he became Mr. Clock in the present day. And then they sought out the Vorpal Blade, an ancient weapon said to be the Fae Queen's bane, that was being held by a sort of neutral goblin, neutral Fae called the Goblin King. Viewers of Labyrinth may, recognize him. Imagine Jareth if he'd gone to Seed, let himself sit on his bum too much rather than doing his magic dances. And they didn't kill anybody. They went in there pretending to be Kosher the Endless and played a game of marbles using the Eyes of the Dragon, an arcane artifact that they had found through their contacts to, push Jareth into gambling with an item that he was bound not to sell. But in doing so, they have crossed the Goblin King, and he may come back to haunt them at a later date. Him and his army of invisible fetchling thieves. But as of this session, everyone's back together again, and well, it's time for the operators to. I'm going to skip introductions of operators at this point because I feel like we're 7 sessions in. I don't think it's really necessary. Feel free to object if you feel there's something you really want to say about your character. But otherwise, why don't we go straight into? I think, given that this is the last of the key events, I'm going to dispense with the free investigation round that I was saying I'd do for other ones. I think that would have been a good thing to have throughout the series, but in this particular one, we can just go straight into the operation. So, in fact, no, let's go straight into seek relief from the horror if you wish to do so. Yes? Downtime activities. So let's start off with jovial German, Hans-Jochen Vogel.
I think I will seek relief from the horror by getting hammered.
Anyone with? They don't necessarily have to use this as their seek relief roll.
I mean, the last time I went with Reaper, I think, or we stayed in the safe house, and I shared the last of the German schnapps that was stashed there.
That was fun.
It was fun. It was fun. There was a Polonaise at the end, I think.
Wilhelm Lomas, your colleague, was most disappointed to hear you've been drinking the snaps in the site of a terrorist incident.
I could see. I don't see Professor Vogel hanging out with a creepy Mr. Clock who has like weird fingers and a wooden face.
I think Michael would quite like to hang out with Professor Vogel.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of tension with Hans-Jochen and Michael at the end of the last session that Michael was on screen. So I can see Professor Vogel maybe inviting Michael to like I don't know. There must be like a German beer garden somewhere in New York.
There totally is a German beer garden somewhere in New York. There almost certainly is not on Staten Island, but you can cross across to Manhattan. No problem.
Yeah.
Probably some really obnoxious, like Oktoberfest beer hall,
And I think that Professor Vogel will, slightly awkwardly approach Michael Anders, and he would like to talk about Holger. And he knows that Michael is probably the one closest to Holger.
And Michael, in his saturnine way, will nod. What do you want to know?
And so I picture this with, women in revealing
Lederhosen.
Not Lederhosen. Dirndl, I think, is the term. Okay. Revealing blouses, carrying these 1 liter beer. What's it called? Bierstein, I think it's in
Stein.
English.
Yeah. I mean, Stein's not an English word, so one assumes it's called a Stein in German as well.
It is not, in fact.
What is it called?
It will come to me in a minute.
Okay.
So he and in the course of the evening, he will get completely hammered, obviously, Professor Vogel. I mean, I see Holger as always like my little boy, but I know that he had this important position in the conspiracy, and I ask myself, like, what is your impression of him? What was your impression? And Vogel is looking for compliments for Holger.
The thing I remember most about Holger was that when you needed him to be, he was violent when violence was needed. He could be cold, really, really cold when he had to be. And he did have to be, Prof. He did.
You can definitely see in Vogel's face that it was not the answer that he was hoping for.
No, he's hoping this is going to be a tale of daring do and adventure.
Inspiring leader in the time of need. Shall we do the roll to see how the thing goes? What do I roll? Just one thing?
Yep, just one thing.
Remember to reduce stress by 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I rolled a 4.
Behave badly.
Whoa, do I?
Oh no, sorry, indulge your vice. I beg your pardon.
Mark heat. And what? We can't afford this. Can I call on a contact or something? And agree with control how this draws the conspiracy. I can see how this draws. The discussion gets louder and louder as it does when people drink. Tell me more. Holger was a hero.
Yeah, Vogel is going on about but what heroic things did he do? How did he? And Enders is saying, you have entirely the wrong idea about this, Prof. There are no heroes in the future. There are survivors.
But I want to hear stories. Give me the stories, man.
How did he become Trollbane?
He killed a troll.
And then obviously shouting the name, how does he become Trollbane, might draw the attention of the Fae to us.
Well, maybe there are tricksy spirits all across New York listening in, waiting for the moment, knowing that it could be useful to greater Fae.
Have you added a heat, Will, or shall I?
No, I have not.
Let me. There we are. So capture is now full.
Mm-hmm.
Fae pawns are gearing up across New York.
Yeah, there are scattered reports of strange lights in the sky, the sound of hooves, the horsemen. People have put in complaints about the New York Police Department just running their horses straight through private property. Because who else has got a fleet of horses? It's got to be the NYPD, right? And this sounds just like them.
And then I think that Michael will notice a table of innocent bystanders.
Can you hear those guys? They must be wrecked. You hear him? He's talking about trolls and shit.
Shut up.
What'd you say?
I told you to shut up.
You get a load of this guy. Why don't you sit back down, friend? Your old man's had too much to drink.
And Michael, who's a big bloke, gets up. And leans
and
on
all three of them get up from the table as well.
And leans over the table and says, leave now and shut up.
Vogel tries to get up as well, but he's too drunk. And then he just sits back down. Yeah, you tell him. You tell him.
So this is a behave badly, I think, right?
I think it is. I think it is. I will reduce stress by 1 because something good has to come out of this, and I will roll the stress dice for a 6. So
But it was really worth it. Reduce stress by an extra 1.
I will do. Thank you.
Now,
Down to my minimum. But on a 4+ and they are an NPC, mark heat and agree with control how this comes to the conspiracy's attention. I think it probably comes to the conspiracy's attention because the police report will say that a man was knifed with a guy's hand.
yes, I think definitely these 3 guys are more than willing to fight you, no matter how big you are. And for a moment, it looks like they get the upper hand until suddenly, like, even though they've got your hands bound, somewhere a knife comes out of nowhere and one of them is on the ground bleeding. And, you know, maybe some scattered eyewitness reports of, I swear that guy had like Wolverine, but grosser.
And then I turn to the professor, drag him up by the scruff of his neck and say, "Time we left, Professor."
Well, I've just started to have fun.
And I notice that we have just marked attack.
Again. After I spent all that heat to try and get it down again as well.
It's called Bierhumpen, is what I.
Interesting.
I mean, that's amazing because, yes, I just assumed that we'd got Stein from the German.
I mean, it's not an English word, is it?
Weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we you know, I am noticing that attack is marked.
And then on to Felicity.
So I'm wondering, Paul, how emotional or connected to his past do
0.
you think? Okay.
Mr. Clock is pretty devoid of emotion. Moribund would be a good phrase.
All right.
If you want to repair a clock with him, I'm all for that. You might get a little mark out of his mouth on a clock repair.
Okay.
So even though, this is probably why he was willing to leave his daughter in your hands rather than actually do anything about it himself, right?
The mission came first.
Funny thing is that, you know, if you were to speak to Michael, Mr. Clark was always a bit of a weasel, but it's definitely changed since he became full-on Mr. Clock. You know, back when he was human, he still had something there.
Okay. Because I was thinking, because I haven't really Felicity and Mr. Clock have not really interacted much.
Bond over your love of murdering things.
You know, so I think you mentioned fixing a clock. And I think probably the closest Felicity is going to get to something like that is cleaning her weapons and like disassembling them and making sure they're in proper working order, which seems vaguely clock adjacent.
You could do it in the clock workshop in the clock tower.
Exactly. So is that something you'd be interested in, Paul?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I think I'm making sure my gear is in working order, because that's something that I can always do. Whether it doesn't matter whether it's rainy, doesn't matter whether it's sunny, I can just sit someplace and clean my gear and make sure it's working. And as you're working on clocks and other things, I think go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I think I'll just say, you know, it is important to keep any mechanism in good working order.
Right. I had to hide this stuff from my brother for a bit until I faked my death, but he was like 18 when that happened. So, you know, he was ready to go away to school and everything.
I'm afraid I don't know your brother in the future.
You know, no offense, but in some ways that makes me glad. I mean, it either means that he was okay, or maybe he just, I hope he wasn't suffering.
Maybe when I return to the future, I can inquire if there are records going back. There is a chance he survived. You know, I don't know everybody in the future, so he could have lived. Statistically, there is a high chance he would have died.
I mean, isn't that kind of better than what you went through and what Enders went through?
I think God would say, you know, we should always strive onwards. The march of time, we must go along with it. My time will come, as will yours. But as of yet, it hasn't.
So which of the Seek Relief do we think we're talking about here?
I'm revealing something new about my anchor.
Okay.
So, you know, I was kind of trying to figure out where he lived in the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because it's like where he lives now, I kind of know that. But, you know, since so much of this is about is making sure a bad future doesn't come to pass.
Future Felicity certainly knew. Perhaps that's why she was so pissed off all the time.
Maybe. Right, so I'll go ahead and roll that one die. That's a 6.
Nice. So it was really worth it, which is good because your brother is now on the target list as well.
Yep.
But
I'm at 1 stress. I have not been at 1 stress since the game started.
no, it was really worth it. I think that's it, right? As far as consequences go. Yeah.
No, 4+. You still apply the 4+ if there's
There is
anything
no 4+.
specific. Okay.
No,
Right.
yeah. No, it's just a 1+ and a 6. Those are the two results
Yeah.
on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
They get put on the target. They get put on the target list or missing. And you know, 6 was really worth it. See, I was absolutely looking for something that would not increase anybody else's stress. So.
So where is your anchor there? You want to add something about your anchor there? Like, I don't know if he survives to the future or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's the information that was gleaned.
Yeah,
That
Gallade, yeah,
I didn't know that he died, but I didn't know of him.
Yeah, which probably, given that you spent quite a lot of time with Felicity in the future, it probably means that he didn't make it, right? Like,
possibly.
Right, now, where do I mark that on my character sheet? Do I just put that in the notes section?
Put
down
it in
at
the
bottom?
notes section. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, the your anchor box is typically where we put it in, but depends on how, you know, the amount of brevity you can be about your notes, about your anchor, I suppose, how many they can fit in there.
I am curious about how Mr. Clock reacts to this discussion. I mean, it feels like he's basically just kind of mechanical about this. And I wonder, you know, does this bring up anything with your daughter, who I saved in the previous op?
I will, of course, thank you, you know, for saving my daughter.
Do I even know it's your daughter? Or did you just say save the dancer?
I said save the dancer. So, yeah, I've not revealed that it is my daughter, but I will still thank you for saving the dancer.
Gotcha.
And I think it was important that we either of us didn't indulge in wanton violence. And I think the main reaction you're getting from Mr. Clock is that sort of moribund, emotional outlook. But clearly, the work he's doing on, he's got a massive table with all these big cogs and various springs strewn on. He is willing to engage you in conversation, but it shows that he's very focused, because he's sort of like turning and then going back to the work and turning and then going back to the work, and he's not able to sort of multitask in any way, shape, or form.
I'm shocked that he looks away from his work.
Is this clock perhaps one with, you know, like a cookery clock type thing with maybe a small mechanical dancer that comes in and out of the mechanism?
That would be very good.
Yeah.
No, possibly in the clock tower there is, you know, it does open up, or it did back in the day. Clearly we know it's disused, and I think it's that I'm working on. But
it's quite bigger equipment than tiny pieces, but like larger, and you're sort of up.
Yes, I haven't got a loop and doing all that kind of.
Now, I was wondering if we could, because I feel as though Mr. You know, because Alan has suggested having a compulsion attached to your supernatural abilities, right? Because you're part supernatural, right? And I feel like Mr. Clock's compulsions is related to this sort of monomania and like lack of empathy and emotion, right? So I'd be, if it would interest you, and if you want to try and lower your stress, I would take this as an indulge vice, right? That you are compelled to fix these things and work on your projects and to.
I was going that way anyway.
Yeah, but I just thought to tie it all together with the mechanics, you know.
I'm curious, do you try to do anything or suggest anything with what Felicity's doing with her weapons?
Yeah, I mean, they must be maintained. All equipment is important in the future. The scarcity, you know, is a problem. So it is a wise move, Felicity, to maintain your equipment to a high standard, you know, rather than going out and getting drunk like the other two have indulged in. You are taking a sensible approach, because when the time comes, resources will become hard to find.
I think I take a note of that and start, like, in the next several weeks or months, depending on how long it is, I start stocking up on replacement parts, springs, that sort of thing.
A wise move.
So would you like to roll your dice, Paul?
Yeah. One.
The lowest result so far. So you reduce stress by 1, but you're ashamed of yourself and distracted by your need for just one more drink or hit. So by this compulsion to work on things, is it perhaps that there is a twinge of the emotional effect that you know isn't there, kind of thing that you recognize?
Yeah, and I think it is the lack of expertise is through the distraction that I'm keep turning around, you know, and it clearly the clockwork isn't going particularly as it should be within my head. So yeah, you know, when we finish this conversation, I'm clearly at a bit of a muddle.
Perhaps you that distraction, you break some part of the mechanism on the dancer, right? Just for the thematic kind of like, you know, clearly it represents. Yeah. She goes ding 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 ding.
Scheiße!
Look
Look what you have made me do, Felicity.
Everyone's German.
Character, he's got a very German name.
He's got a very German name. I didn't imagine him as quite. I thought he was descended, you know, 4th, 5th generation as opposed to straight off the boat. But when he's angry, I guess his granddad's words come out. Perfect. Cool. Well, that was a good round of Seek Relief from the Horror. I'm once again in the position of needing to find outlets for this incredible amount of heat that's been generated for things. And I've that's what the ripples are meant for. So maybe I'll think about that for the last session. How have you made the timeline much worse? I can't keep attacking your safe houses. It's been 1 for 1 so far the last 3 episodes.
This time it's a
You could
clock
spend
tower.
7 and put everybody's anchor directly at capture. At target taken.
That's a very tempting idea, Paul. Thank you.
Straight across the board there. All 4 of them.
That's
Yeah.
some kind of attack, isn't it?
Well, it's some kind of attack, isn't it? It's a really good
I mean,
kind of
it
attack.
ties into attacking the Fairy Queen. We rescue our anchors, and that's
Hit
a fun
squad.
idea.
Fairy hit squad. Go, you know.
It's fine. It's not like there's a pack of supernatural hunters who can track down anyone who are based upon, like, the most tenuous of links.
Or B.
Yeah. But speaking of which, the servants of the Queen. And I will, just because it's been a while since we last looked at it, I will read out the playbook sort of briefing that you got from the future, that Holger put together. When my Google Docs finish loading, there we go. Servants of the Queen. So the old legends of the Fae speak of 2 courts, summer and winter, that were always locked in intrigue and conflict. But there's always just been the Fairy Queen for the people of the future. They've never seen a rival court. The members of the Fae, play their games against each other, but ultimately they all swear allegiance to the Fae Queen, not multiple. But prior to the return of the Fae Queen, this year, there was the first reports of what retrospectively known to be members of the Wild Hunt present in a small town at the foot of Owl's Head Mountain in West Virginia. So not the real Owl's Head Mountain, which is in California, West Virginia, which is not too far away from New York. In 2022, locals reported strange phenomena, mutilated animals, strange noises and lights in the sky, and a hulking man in armor riding a great horse with a huge sword. The present day believes this to be coincidental events, cosplayers. But Mill Creek, the town, suffered a violent and terrible incident on the main street around this time, attributed to the accidental explosion of the local gas station. Dozens died, several were missing. The news cycle quickly moved on. The claims that it was monsters didn't even warrant a mention in the national news, just fringe. So I guess the mission that Holger had in mind was find out what the Fae were hunting for that drew them out into the open before their time was ready. And given the claims of monsters fighting each other, who were they after? Because whoever the Wild Hunt was after is definitely somebody of interest to you. And so we enter the intel gathering phase of this operation. Servants of the Queen is there. We have the leads. What was the Wild Hunt searching for? What was so important to act so openly? What battle will lead to the deaths? And thank you for copying and pasting that into the other details as they emerge. Whoever did that, probably Alan, I imagine. Yep. And so let us start with investigation or preparation scenes. And let's start from the left, Mr. Clock.
Okay, so can we answer any of those questions with any skill set? Will or what are the Wild Hunt searching for? Sounds a bit researchy, that one, so that's not really my area of expertise. What was so important to act so openly?
I'd say maybe tradecraft.
Yeah, I was going to say I could sort of like disguise myself as a bum and sit there and maybe watch and see what's going on through a sort of a covert surveillance.
Travel to
I mean, clearly I've got to go there.
Yeah, I suppose the establishing thing is, shall we move the should we move the team to West Virginia before we do our research?
Take me home.
can
down
do
the country roads.
any online or other kinds of stuff you can do as a flashback from Owl's Head. So yeah.
Cool. I'm not going to be mean. I'm going to allow you to carry on using your safe house features, even though you've moved. It can be whatever was in your safe house is in the boot of the car. Yeah, in the trunk. We are in West Virginia, after all. So yeah, you can disguise yourself and wander around the streets of Mills Creek.
Mills Creek.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm trying to look at why are they acting so openly. Clearly, that does lead to them wandering about. Hopefully.
yeah, you're trying to work out what's important about Mills Creek, right? Like that drew them out.
Yeah. 2 dice, regular dice, and expertise. No stress dice.
Cool.
Well, mine says 3 and a 6, but you never know with this dice roll.
It stopped giving the updates on the top, so I will take your word for it.
It is certainly 3 and 6. I saw it move.
Yeah, it does move. It's just it doesn't give the it's stuck on Michael Enders. I only got 6 on my screen at the top.
Oh, I'm on Felicity Quinn rolled 4.
Yeah. I think we all have a slightly different image of the
That's
present.
fucked.
Yeah. So that is a 6.
That's good. Well, might not be.
That's
so this
pretty
is a
good.
not combat phase. So I
Yeah.
do have an option. So I will. It causes a stress roll, doesn't it?
It does cause a stress roll. And the bare minimum that you need to proceed is that people, you overhear people talking about how, like, one of the sheriff's deputies is stood on his, loudly talking on his radio from his car and saying, yeah, I went down there and I checked out that report. Nothing but a bunch of skinned animals out in the woods. I don't know, some sort of freaks out there. Yeah, I don't know if it's got anything to do with that guy they saw hanging around the streets, looking, rooting around the alleyways. I'd be surprised. I'm looking at some weird-looking homeless guy right now, but it doesn't fit the description. Too skinny. And he tosses you a quarter. And I think the bare minimum is that they may have moved through the forest, but whatever they're looking for is certainly here in this town. And I'll give you. A little bit extra is that as he goes into the nearby diner, he says, you see a
I'm
woman.
sort of under the diner window.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
hear him sort of still having his conversation.
yeah. And he says, yeah, the weirdest thing though, apparently this big guy kept asking around about about a young girl, maybe like. And he said she'd be a young woman by now. I mean, the only young girl I can think of who's said it should be beautiful. That can't be our Ellie, can it? And as he says that, a woman walks out of the diner, holding a pie, and brings it over to you, a slice of pie and a cup of coffee, and says, "Now here you go, sir. You eat it. It's cold out
Thank you
here."
very much, ma'am. Thank you. May God bless you.
Oh, well, that's just hospitality here in Mills Creek. And I think you need to roll for stress because this girl is just staggeringly beautiful, captivating, entrancing. And you can see as she walks, everybody, the town people open the door for her. The deputy doesn't look like lecherous, even though she's so beautiful. He looks like paternal, like everyone cares about this girl. And that is Ellie Snow.
Roll a 1. Don't give 2 monkeys.
No, that's about right for Mr. Clock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pleasures of the flesh, I've transcended them.
The fact that you even had to roll stress whatsoever was the fact that it twinged for a little bit, and you're
I had to roll anyway.
Yeah. This is how you vaguely remember feeling about your own daughter a long time ago, before it just became an abstract sort of like a piece in a mechanism that must keep on turning.
The wheels must turn.
Yeah. So that's, I think, the bare minimum, and a little bit extra. You know exactly who they're looking for here, right? But it's a 6, so you get an extra thing.
Two extra questions.
Well, if it's okay, I'd like to take me just giving you exactly who it is and full stop as the first extra thing.
There's one of them, yeah, fair enough.
Because that's one of those things that you wouldn't have known to ask specifically, right? But like,
No, I wouldn't have done. Can I hold it?
You can hold it. Yes, feel free. I'll come back around to you at the end of everybody else's things, and we'll see. Right? You hold on to it. Gilgamesh, you're muted.
Yes, so I am. I want to work because the team's had a couple of brushes with the Wild Hunt now, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to work on a charm against the Wild Hunt, and I'd be very happy for that to be a preparatory action when we first encounter the hunt.
Okay, if you'd like to make a note of that, that's saved up for then. So you're going to roll it when you first come up against the hunt, yeah?
Yeah.
I will.
Have we got anything in the sense of their characteristics yet? I'm just looking.
You have a fair bunch of them.
Yeah, deterrent. I see. Vulnerable to bronze. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I will say that there are. I think you can get for free actually the other compulsion that they have, which is attracted to the hunt, compelled to pursue in the endless hunt. Right. Like that is the Wild Hunt's function. At the moment, they can only pursue when the sun is down. And I think that with this,
I'm just thinking about this, that I could just use law if I need it. It's no, forget that. I'm going to go with an investigative action, I think.
I think that if you were to do the prep flashback, what I'd allow it to be is that it's something that you did earlier and other characters could have it. Whereas if you do it as the law one, it's something that you've doing in that moment. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. Okay.
You see what I mean?
Okay, so I could make some bronze charms for the team.
Yeah.
Okay, so a deterrent would be in place if they encounter a member of the Wild Hunt. No, fair enough. I'll do that. We'll see if I can create an appropriate bronze charm.
Yeah.
Fine. Prep action it is. Thank you.
Cool. It's bronze. Cold iron. I was very disappointed to find out that cold iron is just a fancy way of saying iron. I always thought it was something better.
It's always struck me as far too easy to defeat the Fae because it, as you say, it is iron.
Everything's got a bit of iron in it, right? Like, yeah. Okay, so that's
damn
what you're
this
gonna
rubber sword.
You're only in trouble if you are upgraded to titanium, right? And then, although I don't know, most titanium is probably a steel alloy, right? In any case, but most things made out of titanium. You know what I mean? They're probably not pure titanium. That would be a bit much. But anyways, digress. So Felicity.
Yeah.
So what you now have is that like there is something otherworldly about Ellie Snow, right?
Yeah. I am seeing that there's a feeling of protectiveness against everyone, among everyone she meets. She's the target of the hunt.
Yeah, it's a safe assumption, I'd say. You know, why is this girl who's clearly got some sort of supernatural thing, glamour about her, in this podunk town in the middle of nowhere, being very nice to people? She didn't even ask for something in return from Mr. Clock, like a promise or a memory, or
there is that. If I got this right, there's another homeless guy out there looking for someone, looking for a beautiful young girl or woman. That belongs down.
And there are lots of strange phenomena in the nearby area.
So I wonder whether any of your lastness contacts could put us any closer to knowing something about the homeless guy in town?
That,
mean-
or I'm trying to figure out, it's like, because if she's got a glamour on, I kind of want to know who it is that they're after. I mean, one of the things about being an assassin is you get a target so you know who to kill.
You could break
And-
into a house.
Yeah. That actually sounds like a good idea. I want to know who this girl is. So yeah, she's working at the diner and has everybody's attention, because it sounds like she is someone who literally commands everybody's attention. There's probably nobody like even paying attention to her house. So yeah, breaking into it sounds like fun. So regular die, expertise. I want to roll the stress die. I don't get deadly, do I?
No. Why would you get deadly?
You know what? I was just asking.
You always ask for it, and every single time it's like, no, it's for killing people, not for like.
All right, there is a
researching them.
4 on the stress die. And it's the highest die, so my stress goes up.
Cool. And on a 4 to 5, I believe you get the bare minimum and something extra. And so you break into the house. Sorry, let me just get my notes up for this. Right, so you break into the house. It's a nice house. You can see that Ellie still lives with her family. They're all out at the time that you break in. You're a skilled enough burglar that doesn't happen. And so you work your way through. You find an office. There are pictures of people, like a loving family. Seems a large family. 7 people, seven children in that family, and parents, including Ellie. They're all very different. This appears to be a family that is big through adoption. The Whites have expanded with their 7 small ones, through taking in waifs and strays from across the thing. So Ellie is adopted, and you can see that she was adopted around 15 years ago, based upon the things when she was very young. And
How old is she now, roughly?
well, let's call it 20 years ago, actually.
Okay, so she was adopted when she was about 5.
Yeah, you can see a pic. No, she was adopted when it's not 15 years ago. Let's just say 20 years ago. I got my timelines mixed up. I apologize.
So adopted pretty much as a baby.
Yeah, you can see a picture of her adopted as a baby, swaddled in a sort of like leather, like a sort of cloak kind of thing. They seem to be holding her in the picture.
Swaddled in a cloak, you say?
Yeah, it does look odd. It doesn't look like a maternity blanket. It looks sort of rustic, old-fashioned.
Okay. What else?
Well, the other thing that you find is that not all of the Whites were out when you first broke in, but there isn't anyone alive in this house other than you. As when you step into the garage, there is a trail of blood leading to Mr. White Sr. and Mrs. White Sr. Both appear to have been pierced by sharp objects. Mr. White, in fact, has a black obsidian arrow sticking out of his back where he tried to run through the back door.
Interesting.
I think the extra detail there is that the hunt is very, very close.
So the parents are dead. Hunt is close. Oh boy.
Does that seem enough information for the 2?
Yeah, for the 4. I'm just gonna basically wipe up any fingerprints. I mean, I'm wearing gloves, obviously, so I'm just kind of like doing a quick swipe through to make sure that anything I touched is clear. And then I'm getting out of there.
Yeah, very outside, pulling off the gloves, popping them into a baggie, right, and then walking down the street onto the comms as soon as you get out, telling everybody else.
Yeah.
Professor Vogel. Now you don't have to be part of, I think, the this timeline that's already been established. If you want to jump back further.
It will be a flashback from New York University Special Department for Forbidden Law and French fairy things, and he's reading up on the. So the Fairy Queen is the queen of the summer court. Is that true? Well, there was the summer door, I think. The summer
The
door.
doorway into summer.
The doorway into summer. So I assume, I don't know if that is a
That wasn't the
faith.
Fairy Queen's artifact, though. That was a Fae. That was an artifact from the Fae. But if it had been the Fairy Queen's artifact, then it's very unlikely you would have got it. In fact, when I said it at the start, it was that this was an item forgotten even by the Fae that was perhaps accessible to you. You know, it was a hope, it was a legend, and it worked.
You're trying to confuse me. Well, doesn't work. So no,
hey,
I'm
if
joking.
only there was a way. If only there was a way for you to get concrete,
Yes.
100% answers about things.
No, I want to leap forward and do a leap of faith, which is, so there will be the other court, and if the Fae Queen is the queen of the summer court, then I'm looking for the winter court, and or the other way around.
Exactly. There is a hey, you know, roll a 6 or use your expertise. If you roll lower, you could ask me a whole bunch of questions about the dynamics at work here. You know.
Exactly. So in general, I'm researching the courts, the Fae courts.
The Fae courts, yes.
Yes, and I have expertise. And I will add the stress die because why not? Good that I did, because I have the 5 on the stress die.
5 on the stress die. Nice. So that takes you to an additional question and the bare minimum. So you want to ask me the question? You want to ask me the question about those 2 courts, like clarify what the situation is here?
Maybe give me the bare minimum first.
Well, I need to know your question.
Everybody
else's was a more general, what can I find poking around here, right? Yours is a very specific.
Yeah, my question would be, does the Fae Queen, to which court does the Fae Queen belong?
So you find this in the old stories that tell of, you know, how she was driven out from the mortal world once before, how she was banished to, you know, be weakened out and then her heart was cut out. It was a time when she had managed to gain the throne of both courts. And it suggests that it's winter that she belongs to.
Interesting.
That she froze out her enemies, that she took over the summer court and had all of Fairy united behind a banner. And that the heroes of old allied with the summer court, the remnants of it, and returned, you know, the heir to the summer throne. That was part of their. So I think that's the minimum.
So then my question is, so I already, as a player, have the suspicion that this woman, I've got a name,
Ellie.
Ellie, is probably an important figure within the summer court, and that, you know, her parents dropped her in Mill Creek to protect her from the Winter Queen. What is her, like, we want to, like, how is she a, like, what is the Winter Fairy Queen afraid of with regards to the Summer Fairy Queen?
That the Fae Queen's servants, you know, the power of the Fae, her ability to unify all of the Fae gave her an incredible array of forces, and it meant that she didn't have to worry about people, you know, backstabbing her. She didn't have to worry about rival ploys because, you know, she could bring them all together. You would create divisions within the Fae Court, essentially.
So she would be like a rallying point to rally all the other people behind her or something.
Yeah, in that she's worried that there will be a rival. You know.
Nice. So if we protect Ellie and can somehow install her on the throne, that would be like a final nail in the coffin of the Fae Queen.
You know what? I'll go one extra. That it's not just that the rivalry; it's that the Court of Summer is the antithesis of the Court of Winter. So I'll give you a vulnerability of the Fae Queen with that one. And I hid her because she felt like she had to be on the page. I hid all of the other Fae. I should have done them separately so I could discreetly unhide them. But here we go. I will give you, in fact, a deterrent. Sorry, and the deterrent is the antithetical element is the Summer Court's power. And I leave it to those of you with any familiarity with certain Fae properties to come up with ways to weaponize that to your own advantage, depending on what you get out of this session.
Cool.
But Vogel with lots of
turning the pages.
Definitely Wilhelm Lomas, you know, comes over to talk to you and then sees all of this.
He already thinks that I'm crazy.
Yeah, and he just shakes his head and backs off without you seeing.
And I think Vogel doesn't even, like, he's so obsessed with his studies, scribbling notes, you know, and plotting and scheming that he doesn't even see Lomas.
So, should we take a break, return to go over our intel and decide on the details of the operation, right? Okay, so see you guys at 1:15.
Works for me. See you in a few.
So we've had a full round investigation. Mr. Clock still has a question left, and I'm going to reveal, because I think that's one of the benefits of your investigation from Felicity, is that one of my complications is the clock is ticking because the Wild Hunt is in town and have already struck, in fact. So if we review the information that we've got, the operational objective is still yet to be declared. Who and what is the focus of the operation? Do we think that's still the Wild Hunt, or do we think it's changed to
Ellen? I think that isn't the mission now protect Ellen and maybe put her on the throne is a bit much, but protect her for the time being.
You mean kidnap her?
I think when she finds out that the parents who took her in are already killed, she will join us.
So we kidnap her, take her to see her parents, prove to her that she needs our help. Then she comes to us to the safe house where we hoard her until we can replace the queen with her.
Jesus, the aggressive language. We save her.
Also, we might want to be a little more delicate about telling her that her parents are dead so she doesn't think we did it. I mean, maybe listen to the assassin on this one.
And also she's a Fae Queen. She probably has powers. If we just kidnap her, we could alienate her, and it's maybe dangerous.
Okay, maybe I misinterpreted, or maybe you guys misinterpreted, I'm not too sure. Clearly she was adopted, so her parents are not really her real parents.
Hey,
so maybe her powers are latent. Yeah, I think we need to change the mission to protect her.
Not just protect.
Extract.
Yeah, okay, extract.
Relocate in time and space.
It's time?
It'll be in the future. It's in time.
Safely extract Ms. Snow.
It's Snow, yeah. Sorry, I've been using white, and I remember that I said
Well,
Snow.
I assumed that she'd kept her original name
Yeah, well,
when she was adopted by the Whites.
I did a real how do I make it Snow White, right? In the 7 things, and I was there's only so clever I can get with it before it just becomes obvious to only me. I was going to look up like the German for snow and white and string them together, but we've seen that not work before.
It completely went over my head with that together. Sneewittchen, I would probably recognize.
Yeah, to be fair, you weren't familiar with Robin Goodfellow that much in the first place, right? But anyways, so this is the operation. No one's got any prep left over, but Mr. Clock does have a question left over. Oh, Alan does, but that's a flashback prep, yeah.
It is.
Okay, so are we missing the other 7? We've still got 7 dwarves, haven't we?
Well, 6 the children, other than Ellie. None of whom seem to be quite as glamorous as her. They're all. It's a family of adopted children. They're all from various places. Most of them look older than Ellie, like by a fair few years. You can see
to the point where some of them are bearded.
Yeah, the oldest boy certainly has a very long beard. Yeah.
He doesn't work in a pickle factory, does he?
So I suggest this is about lifting her on her way home from work.
Well, I was going to say the question should be, or the benefit I want is knowing her time when she's going to finish work, and her, yeah.
Yeah, certainly. You can have that. Yeah, you can. So that's, I think, where we frame the start of the thing, right? Is the diner as it's closing up for the night. She's coming off shift. In fact, the diner's not closing up, but she's coming off shift, right? And she'll be walking across the car park.
I think I'm in the car saying, look, are we sure about lifting her? Like, the entire town loves her. This is West Virginia. There's probably 4 guns for each person in this town. Why don't we
don't lift her, they will lift her.
What I'm saying is we could kill the wild hunt.
Thunder echoes in the distance as you sit here. It is a dry night. There is not a cloud in the sky.
The hunt's coming. We remember this part.
Exactly. I would like to call a contact to have access to a black van.
To a black van?
Yeah.
Who's which contact are you calling on for that? Mr. Rook, the driver?
But I don't want Rook. I just want the van.
He can send a guy,
No, I don't want a driver. I just want a van.
You just want the van. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what he did. He drove a van up there, dropped it off, and was like.
And Felicity is having that conversation in the van as we see her walking across the car park, and I'm all set to just accelerate beside her, so you can bundle her into the van.
And
the hunt's coming. We're going to need to protect her.
Gilgamesh. Vogel actually makes air quotes. Gilgamesh. This should be like plan B. Plan A is a sympathetic older gentleman will approach her with all his wisdom, persuade her to come with him. And if she doesn't come, then the guy with claw hands will just grab her and stuff her into a van.
Hey,
that works for me.
Prof, listen, not to shoot your plan down, but you're probably going to seem creepy as fuck.
He is the most persuasive person.
What is
on
not
the team.
to love about me with my charming German accent?
He is out of the 3 of you, he is by far the least threatening out of all of you. I think as you say that, I think that the camera will pan out to the heavily tattooed, probably like the pistol underneath her jacket, right? Like the stab vest that she wears, the bag full of gear that she carries with her everywhere to kill things, and the dead eyes of the killer that she has. And go, clearly I'm the best one to talk to this woman. We're not the kindly old man.
Hey, I do not have dead eyes. most of the time.
Well, that depends where you're standing.
Yeah, you have that collection on your bed table though, right? In the jar.
Do I have to declare the loadout?
Yes, let us all declare loadout. I'm taking that scene as like kind of like in the car outside as she's, getting ready in the diner kind of thing, Mr.
Unless
Clock,
Vogel and Felicity wants to engage a bit relief the
relief from the
stress.
horror. Yeah. Do you want to do that? Yeah, always an option.
Bit of an argument over about who is creepy.
Who is creepy? Camera pans over to Mr. Clock.
Fucking creepy fucker.
Yeah.
No, you creepy fucker.
I think Vogel will abuse everyone. Will it be the creepy guy with the hands, the tattooed killer, or and he stops for a second and says, or the slightly unnerving wooden clock person.
He doesn't want to so too
Vogel,
serious.
just talk to the girl for fuck's sake.
Does that
I
count?
can
as-
talk her down if she starts freaking in the van and say, "Hey, it's okay. Look, I'm a woman. Nothing bad's gonna happen to you while I'm around, right?"
So, does that count as lashing out?
I think that it does count as lashing as behaving badly, Professor Vogel. Yes.
And I think that who feels the most attacked? I think Mr. Clock maybe.
Gilgamesh?
Clock is undoubtedly the least human person in the van.
Yeah.
Come on.
That is true.
We've seen him.
I wasn't involved in this in any way, shape, or form.
No, but exactly. I think that's how
We've seen him
dispassionate he is about it. Is it? He's
I
cut
like
off and
Can we have a-
wear the faces of people.
yeah. But
Of dead
I
people.
rest my
Of
case.
dead people.
People he killed.
dead
We should
people,
have
that makes
an
it so much better.
episode. There should be an episode of Against the Dark Conspiracy where we just bitch at each other in the black van while she's like walking past and gets shot down by black arrows.
Yeah. Driver gets hit by traffic as you go past. Yeah. But I think it is fair to say that Mr. Clock probably is not that bothered about it, frankly, because that's exactly why you describe him as such, right? Is that he is not bothered about things. I think that the real question, and I think, is Felicity or Gilgamesh? Gilgamesh, perhaps, with his recent memories of his brother and threatening his brother, right? And I don't know. I do feel as though Gilgamesh has got more of a human core buried beneath all of that
He does.
survivor
He
shit.
does. And I mean, the only thing I would say in Gilgamesh's defense is that he doesn't want to talk to her at all. He just wants to snatch her.
Yeah. Yeah, but maybe
So,
there's a bit of a...
all of this, Prof, you're just wasting time. Stop arguing and do something.
But I think
So
that
I'm
is
very
a...
happy to be argued with.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the behave badly is towards Gilgamesh, because
Okay,
it does
cool.
pitch into that argument, and maybe we get a bit of guilt tripping from Vogel. Even for your own brother, what are
Under
you
the
fighting to
boss.
save if you would threaten him, like that kind of thing? No one knows, of course, that you broke his leg.
I rolled a 4. I hope that is not bad for.
Alan, I think it is
Gilgamesh.
bad for Gilgamesh, in fact.
Of course it is. So I get to roll for stress, I think.
Because those words do land with you.
They do. They
Yeah.
do. I will roll the stress dice. My stress is currently only 3. Let's re-roll. That is a 6, so stress goes up by 1. And there's that kind of reflexing opening and closing of the dew claw with the tension.
Does it at least lower my stress?
It does
Yeah.
lower your stress by 1. Yeah, you always lower your stress by 1, no matter what the dice result is on
Okay.
when you make one of these moves. There's no way of not doing so, because there's also no way of it going completely your way. So, cool. So, Vogel's going to come out across the car park. You're going to be grab her in the van, and Felicity's going to be there to provide
With her if she needs
support
it.
if need be
Yeah.
from a nearby vehicle, or maybe with Vogel, like alongside Vogel
No, I'm definitely in the van.
in the van. Mr.
Yeah.
Clock, are you still, like eyes on the scene, dressed as a bum?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a heavily sort of dirty, bearded, clearly some face I found lying about.
Jesus.
You
So
you
just
find them
so I-
lying about this day and age.
Just so I'm absolutely clear then, Felicity's in the front seat with me or in the back of the van?
Back. Somebody's
Back
got to
of the van.
grab.
Okay. Vogel is walking across the car park to intercept Snow.
I'm against the diner, sort of with the car park in front of me.
Kind
Good
of
field of vision.
just drifting behind her in no kind of sinister way.
Like just sat by the van. Yeah, sat by the diner. He's not drifting.
Yeah, well, no, it's just when we end up having to snatch her, he's gonna have to make pace to the van because
Yeah. We're only talking a car lot here. It's not it's cinematic distances as well, isn't
the
it?
The diner
Anyways.
is not Walmart. It has not got 5,000.
Hey, it's a nice diner.
It's a small
but
car
yeah,
park.
Yeah. So it's dark now.
talk to her, Vogel. I'm saying under my breath.
Yeah.
Hurry
And
fuck up.
she's walking across, and she hears your footsteps, and she'll turn around.
Excuse me.
Hey there.
Hello, it's so nice to meet you. I have heard a lot of stories in this city. Let me introduce myself. I'm Professor Vogel. I'm an expert in fairy tales.
Wow, fairy tales.
Yes, and
you're from New York?
I'm originally from the Schwarzwald, actually.
Where's that? The Schwarzwald?
The Schwarzwald is in Germany, and it is it's a really enchanted place.
I never left Mills Creek.
Well, I don't want to alarm you, but you are very important, and there are very, very evil people after you. And me and my team, I have friends who are really, really friendly, although they are also very powerful. They will protect you from these evil creatures. I know it sounds crazy, it sounds weird, but trust me, I have good information that these terrible people are about to strike.
And just before, you can really, just as you say that, you hear the door of the diner ring, and out steps that deputy and goes, "Hey, Ellie, you left your... Can I help you, friend?"
Oh, yes, I'm Professor Vogel, and he extends his hands and he says over the microphone, "It's time for Plan B."
All right, my name is Deputy Winterbottom, and then as he's looking suspiciously at the two of you and Ellie's right next to the two of you here. He's looking very suspicious. Do you want to try and assuage him in any way, Vogel?
Yes, I definitely try to be the old, completely harmless academic that I in fact am.
Okay. And when he's rolled that, well, Paul, did you have something you wanted to say before? Or is it?
No, I'll allow that to go through, but let's stick with Plan A. I will remove the copper if need be.
Mm-hmm. Alan. There's a 6, I think, on the dice.
I have not rolled.
Oh, I think it's just when I clicked back on it, it opened up. So if you're rolling to persuade him
yes.
that you mean no harm to Ellie, that you're in fact telling her, you're not a suspicious figure, really. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Put him completely at ease. This is a do something else with persuasion.
Expertise comes into play.
Expertise comes into play, yeah.
And because I just relieved almost all my stress, let's add the stress die.
That's how it keeps ticking back up again, host.
It's a 4. And my stress goes up, I think. Or do I have to roll on stress later on?
No, your stress goes up if it's the highest dice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And so Ellie goes, "Oh, it's okay, Cletus. He's a friend. He seems all fine. He was telling us about something. Sounded real important, though, huh?"
It's very important, of utmost importance.
and she'll listen to you, and she's like, she's like, and I was like, are you saying people are out to get Ellie? Are Ellie?
Yes, it is true that there are dangerous people after her, and I'm here to protect her.
Mr. Clock. In fact, actually, before I ask, can everyone please set their loads at what they are carrying? Puckett, I expect that you're carrying heavy.
I mean, yeah.
If I go
Yeah.
light now, does it make a difference to medium for the deputy, for example?
No, I don't think it makes difference for the deputy, because he's not a very, you're not in a secure location, whatever. I think you can get away with a medium, and particularly since you rolled a 4 anyways, it's not worth,
Okay. Medium it is.
Mr. Clock?
I think at that stage I will leap to my.
No.
feet.
What load did you take?
Oh, medium.
You took medium, and Michael?
Likewise, medium.
Okay, cool. Mr. Clock, you are sat by that diner, and the thing, and somebody comes out of the alleyway, like this, goes round the back of the diner. Is a big guy, huge, big bushy beard, smells strange, heavy, like torn leather jacket.
Like a big
hunting
biker
jacket.
dude.
Yeah, a bit like a big biker dude that's wearing like a mix of that kind of clothes and like hunting clothes, like woodsman's clothes. None of them seem to be in very good condition.
So without a floor plan,
Mhm.
let me just mind's eye this. So
Yeah.
Let's say the diner
you've got your back to the diner, right? You're looking at the car
so
park.
basically I'm on the corner.
Yeah.
I can see this guy down this alleyway.
Mm.
Turn to my sort of left, looking on the large car park.
Mhm.
There's Ellie and the deputy, Oak and our crew.
Yeah.
So I think at this stage, I need to get the copper down the alleyway to hopefully buy us some time. So I'm going to leap to my feet, do some sort of like weird jig. Don't want to really RP mental illness. That's not really what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Do some sort of like weird mental illness, insult the copper, say I'm high on Argyle meth, and quickly duck down the alleyway, hopefully that he pursues me.
If you throw something at him, he certainly will do.
Yeah, cup of urine.
Yeah. Maybe like the remains of that pie that Ellie brought out, right?
Yeah, a bit of key lime pie in his direction.
Yeah. I think that is disguise, because you are passing yourself off as this person.
Crazy hobo.
Yeah.
I think I do need the stress die in this situation. Six. Well, 6 on stress and 6 on expertise.
So your stress goes up.
But it's awesome.
Yeah, but you won't be rolling for stress because it was 6 on the stress die. So are you taking a intel or are you removing your stress?
No, I'll go for the intel in this situation.
Nice. Starting to build it back up again. I will note that after we tried that rule change, intel is much more even across the board. Everyone's run out pretty much but yeah.
And it played a bit quicker.
It did play a bit quicker, yeah. Anyways, so you've, and he's like, oh hell, man.
No.
Ellie, Professor, listen, I'll be right back, okay? I just got to take care of this. Who knows what his trouble he's going to get into back there? And he runs off like after Mr. Clock. This big guy.
Can I just be clear? Is this the same alleyway the guy is coming out of? Or the other alleyway?
The other alleyway. Let's say it's like a junction, you know what I mean? Like.
Fine, well, let's run him down then.
The guy comes out of the thing, yeah, and he calls out, "Girl."
The van is in motion.
The van is in motion. Okay.
I'm wanting to put the van on him between Snow, Vogel, and him.
Cool. You are going to confront.
I'm going to confront him with a van
With a van, yeah. So
using my non-existent drive.
your non-existent drive, yes. I'm wondering, you did call in a contact to get this, right?
Yeah.
And you spent the stress for that, I imagine.
Yeah.
And we'll say it was just one rather than two because you used your existing driver contact, so you didn't have to declare them from the first part, right? I think it's fair to say that you get to use your expertise on one dice roll with this thing because you spent to get a contact, right? And it was just to get a van, which typically we're not really fussed about locating vehicles in this game, are we? So I think it's good for you to get a, this is a good van. It's a great van. And it certainly will be a great van until you slam into something heavy with it, which will remove the expertise dice from it, right?
Indeed. And of course, we will notice that there is a bronze hood ornament that I have welded on using my sparks.
Oh, if that's what you're doing, then we're going to need to see that.
We're going to need to see that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I can't remember. Did we talk about using law or sparks to make this?
Why don't we call it sparks? I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I will have used my stress die on the prep. So here we go. That is a 6, not on the stress dice.
A 6. So I think the added benefit can be that you have more than one bronze charm, right?
Well,
So you have this.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If you want to use, what do I do with the rules? If you could use the weaponizing a deterrent rule.
Okay.
If you wanted to, that would help.
Yeah, why not? Why don't we weaponize a deterrent and then everybody can have a. So what's
something that works.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the weaponized deterrent page?
Yeah, I knew you'd ask me that.
Yeah.
Hang on, it's up the end. It is on page 104.
104. So weaponize a deterrent is simply
on a 6. It works all scenes and applies double the usual stress. Now, the object here was not to make a weapon, right?
Yeah.
It was to create a charm that would act as a deterrent.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to suggest is that each of us and the van have the charm.
Oh yeah, that's about what I was going to go with originally before you said weaponize the vulnerability, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, because I thought maybe like driving a car with a bronze hood ornament is technically weaponizing the vulnerability, right? Like, yeah. So anyways, everybody's got a bronze artifact with them, so you can describe it in your own theme, right? But like, it's a bronze hood ornament will take in place.
Can I just say, I think it's, I'm looking for a symbol of summer here. So I'm imagining either it's a flower or it's the sun.
The sun's probably easier to make, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So you're rolling to confront. You get your expertise because of the vehicle and it being a special Delta Green black van. And you would normally not have the expertise.
Sorry, I'm just going to mark the intel for that 6 and roll for stress.
Oh, no. Are you going? Yeah, roll for stress. Yeah.
Oops.
The way we decided we would play it is you roll for stress and then you can choose to remove stress or mark intel.
Okay.
So roll first and then decide.
So that's a 2. So stress doesn't go up.
Stress doesn't go up, which means you'll definitely keep the intel. Yeah. And because you're using that bronze thing, you get your expertise dice because it will negate their Fae enchanted armor.
And I will include the stress dice again.
Cool.
And roll.
3 risk die here as well, Alan, though.
Okay. I mean, normally a deterrent would reduce one of the risk die.
Oh, would it? I thought it was the deterrent gave you back your expertise generally.
Well, okay, fair enough. I'll put those 3 in. I got a 4. I'm rolling the 3 stress die now. Oh, there's a 6 on the risk die. So we're going to take some trouble here.
But it is a 4, so you do you do deal harm to him. You crash into him. You smash him up against the side of like a big metal dumpster.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm not expecting to put him down here.
Oh,
what I'm expecting to do is buy time to get her into the van.
But the cinematic thing is, of course, the and then as everybody rocks right in the car. I'd like you to roll for consequences as a hand punches through the side of the van.
Okay. I will add the stress die to this roll to try and increase the chance of nothing awful happening. That is a 6, and it's not on the stress dice.
Nice. So that hand grabs hold of you, but you're able to slam down on the gear, move the gear stick, slam down and reverse out, dragging it away, right? As this figure hulks over to the ground and this jacket and everything slows off him. And standing before you is the figure from the reports, who is now on the Faces and Places. The huntsman. You recognize his mask. It's the leader of the Wild Hunt. But the first thing that occurs to you as he's silhouetted in the headlights, Gilgamesh and Mr. Clock, is that it's not the one that you know from the future. It's a different figure. Similar garb, similar ornaments and everything, but a different huntsman.
At that point, I'm shouting off my shoulder, Felicity, get them in the van.
I just slide the back door open and say, "Get in, please." Very nice and friendly with a smile.
She with you?
Yes, it's a whole team. It's here to protect you. This
She
terrible.
bewilderedly get into the van with you, stammering. Mr. Clock, you sprinted around the back of the diner, right? And the cop is after you, and then he's obviously going to hear this loud crunch and scream from behind, and he's going to turn around. But he hasn't quite got the urgency of it all yet. He's just going to look after you, like sprinting off into the darkness, and then like start walking back, like going like, "Everything okay back there?" Like, not really,
And of course, we will pull up around the block just as Clock emerges from the other
Well,
end
I
of the
want to
alley.
see, Michael. You know what? I'll allow Felicity to do this, perhaps, just to give her a role here, right? The flee for your life. Because imagining that, like, part of this, the real key in fleeing for your life is getting these two into the van, and maybe like a shot or like throwing something at the hulking figure as he stalks towards the van.
So does that mean I get to add my deadly?
Depends how loud you're going to go for it.
Um,
Because at the moment, the authorities here in Mills Creek have a crushed dumpster, and that will be about it.
so I'm just going to ask for a quick poll. Does anybody care if I go loud? Do we want to like do this surreptitiously, or
I think we're past that.
Yeah, and personally, I think that we could almost use a chain of police cars chasing us out of town as distraction for what I believe to be an oncoming wild hunt.
Mhm.
okay?
Well, yeah, let's a little bit think about this. They then will think this girl is kidnapped. APBs all over the place, maybe back to New York. Faces. Not the easiest thing to keep moving about. Somebody that's wanted.
Oh, that is true. Keep it quiet, Fliss.
So let me just quickly see how, if I have a suppressor on a weapon, does that take up an extra slot?
It does not, but to have a suppressed weapon, you will need to declare tactical weaponry as the benefit of the safe house.
Which means that if we need other stuff, we would have to call on a contact.
Yep.
Anybody care if I declare the safe house?
Go ahead.
Paul, you're
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, go ahead.
All right. So yeah, I've got a suppressed weapon with me, and I will basically just throw some fire downrange.
Cool. Well, this is still a flee for your life rather than a confront, because otherwise you are abandoning the idea of getting out of here.
Sure, but does that
but
mean
this
I get
is
to
a
add
cover.
my deadly
You do
die?
get to add your deadly die. I'll allow the use of your deadly die and your expertise, because no, not your expertise. I'll let you, because your expertise is not in vehicles or anything that helps with. But I'll let you have the deadly die for using the weapon.
All right. So my expertise doesn't come in when I'm using a weapon?
Not in the sense of, because technically
Okay.
I shouldn't allow you to. I'm only framing it this way so that Felicity gets to do something in a scene rather than just Michael roll the van endlessly.
Michael roll the van ashore. That is a 6 on my gray die. So I will roll for stress. Stress is 3. My current stress is 2, so it goes up.
Now, do you want to take intel or remove stress?
I want to take intel.
Okay. And you open fire, and he catches it on this huge broadsword that he pulls out of what's seemingly thin air, but staggers back under the fire. And as he races off, stress is that you can hear the horns of the Wild Hunt coming in to the town, echoing across the valley. At the bottom
I'm
of
just
your
gonna
head.
like, because
He raises
I'm just gonna
one
look at
hand.
the clock and say, God damn it! I thought we dealt with these fuckers already.
They keep returning. We need to deal with them permanently.
I agree. God, they're fucking annoying.
But you guys make it away from the huntsman, and you peel out onto Main Street. Where's next?
Away.
Away. You're going to direct drive out of the town, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're pulling up to the edge of the town limits, right? Like screeching out of town. Silhouetted on the road leading out of town, there are 5 riders and the howling of hounds and Ellie's. What? This feels wrong. Feels like something's after me.
Yes, bad people are after you, and we are the good guys here to protect you.
Who was that man? You
Which
shot
one?
him.
Oh,
Him, he's fine.
he's the huntsman.
People don't just get shot and get back up. What's going on?
Well, you have to be very, very strong, Ellie. Do you remember the fairy tales that your parents told you? I hope they told you fairy tales, because there's a lot of wisdom there.
What? Dun, 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 dun. Mr. Clock, what do you think the team should do?
I think we should analyze what we know about the Wild Hunt and see if we can bring a speedy demise, because as Felicity said, they are going to continue to pursue us. So let us put our heads together and see what we know.
So what you know about the Wild Hunt, if we look over on the Supernaturals tab, is they carry spears and swords of obsidian, arrows of flaming black bark, which counts as the heavy tag essentially for them. They can track anywhere. They have great speed. They can keep pace on their unholy steeds. They can summon and command dogs, hounds that were once human, running on all 4s, bestially transformed. They are armored. They have enchanted hides, and they can travel backwards and forwards between the realm of Fae and the real world. Those are their powers. Their compulsions are that they can only hunt now when the sun is down, and they are compelled to pursue in the endless hunt. One assumes that their prey may be in this car with you.
Yeah, I've sort of worked that one out. Now, clearly, we can't move time to advance ourselves to dawn. So is it worth a point of intel to find out what will throw them off our scent?
Yeah. If you do that, I can give you if you spend that point of intel.
I will spend that point of intel.
Yeah, I will allow you to know like the specific deter, like I'll give you what I had in mind when I created that deterrent, right? As opposed to you coming up with it on your own. And yeah, so they're like, hunt saboteurs. How do hunt saboteurs do it? They lay different trails, right? So if you can confuse with whatever element, come up with some way of masking this supernatural hunting technique. If only you had somebody who could cast spells and things in the car with you. But if you lead them in different routes, the hunt will lose track of what the real one is and spend its time here. So
yeah, basically we need some wild weasels. Now we've got her in the van. Maybe we can use her scent.
I think that they're coming straight at you. You don't have wild weasels. What you do have, however, is 4 people.
So each of us, or maybe not 4. We need 1 driving home.
3 people. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that like the resources you have to hand is. It's a shame that you didn't bring the duck.
It is a shame. I think Professor Vogel will drive her safely home while you take her scent and just you run in 3 different directions. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, I think we're misunderstanding the idea of scent here. Stop me if I'm pushing this too far, Will, or whether it goes against what you had in mind. But I'm thinking they're supernaturals, okay? They're not smelling anything. They are sensing something. So why don't I create multiple versions of the van? Glamour, in effect.
How far can you cast this, and how long will it
Well,
last?
I think that's the question. What we need.
My
is enough-
complication is if you want to do this way, it's divided. The team must split up.
Ah, okay. All
That's
right.
what
you
I'm pushing
declared the
for there.
complication. Okay.
Yeah.
No, then declare it away. Then there's no point me creating a glamour of a second van. Then.
No, but what it could be, the same use of that is that other people will read as Ellie to them, because you are right, they are not scenting. It is not a scent in the physical sense. It is a scent in the sense of spiritual, right? And you certainly have that ability to mislead.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
maybe we could get them to go after the rest of her family because they're quite similar to her. Maybe a spell that will dull their, sort of unhone their senses, so then they get a lot of targets to go for.
I think if we had access to the family right now, I could see the logic in that, but I don't think I've got the positioning for that.
And I mean,
I've got
Will
5
already-
people.
Yeah.
He's
Will
told
already
us.
declared that the complication is we have to split up, and I think
Yeah.
it makes total sense. Like
If you want to pursue that approach, which is the way to keep the wild hunt off your trail and get safety to her. I also think that Mr. Clock might go in for throwing the family under the bus, but I think I'd find it hard to believe that Professor Vogel would ever approve of such a thing. I think that would be a real I can't be with you people anymore sort of things, right?
That would be
So,
a line
look,
for me as well. Like
that-
a line in character.
The bottom line is that Will's declared the complication.
split up.
We
Yeah.
have to split up. There's no, it's just a question, do we go individually or do we go in pairs?
Or do we abandon the idea and just fight them or find another way? That's also a possibility.
Well, he's declared the complication. They are going to divide us one way or another.
Oh, okay. In any
Yep.
case.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're if they come at us, we're going to be divided.
I mean, ultimately, if you don't divide, then they're going to just keep coming at you all
Yeah.
night long, basically.
So the question then becomes, how do we divide?
Well, my suggestion is Professor Vogel, who is also a pretty good driver, being German and all, and a crappy fighter, and has like a nice connection with Ellie, will take her to safety.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Michael sees the logic of it. He's not sure that he trusts the professor as the bodyguard for the Queen of Summer.
Yeah, I'll stick with the professor.
And that will leave Michael and Mr. Clock to play decoy.
I mean,
I'm kind of imagining that, like, when you saw the hunt, right, you wheeled the van around and drove back into town, and this has kind of been discussed as like you're taking side streets and turning around and being like, what are we doing? And like, yeah.
What do you reckon, Mr. Clock?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Because the very fact that we are tainted by fairy should be something to confuse them.
Yeah, you should roll to harness the dark, though, Michael, to set this up if you want to.
Well, I mean, if you're going to invoke the complication, why am I bothering?
I don't know, Alan. You designed the game.
Because if I fail at this, you're still going to divide us. But
if you fail at this, you're going to think that you've succeeded, or you're going to succeed at a cost, right?
Okay. I will harness the dark to do something else. I will spend stress.
It's only like if I declared the gas mask one and you had to do something to find a gas mask, you would still have to do it, right? Or suffer the consequences of not being able to do it.
It's a subtle difference because you just mark the gear.
Yeah.
So I will spend stress to harness the dark.
Yeah.
I will roll. I dare not include the stress dice. So it's just ordinary and expertise to try and capture some of Snow's scent onto Clock and I.
Yes. And you can roll your yeah, perfect.
That is a 4.
A 4.
So that is that's
You know,
okay.
That's okay. Everybody is actually, you feel warmer. You know.
So our cover holds if I'm seeking to maintain a cover as Snow.
Yes. Yeah. Your cover holds, and you guys can bail out of the van at different points around Mills Creek.
Not before, as I change seats with Vogel, I get very close to the professor and I hold the dew claw to his throat and I say, "You hold the fate of humanity in your hands, Professor."
And Vogel, there's like one drop of sweat running down his, his forehead, and he says, "No need to be aggressive about this. I'm aware. I'm very aware. I already gave my son. I'm not willing."
You didn't give your son. Your son sacrificed himself. And my concern, Professor, is you're not up to it.
Well, you will be mistaken, Michael.
Roll for that seek relief.
I will.
Michael.
I'll reduce stress by 1 and I will roll a d6 to see what. Hang on. Highlight. That we go. And that is a 1. My expertise is unavailable until stress goes up again.
I mean,
I feel that I've been, and Snow looks at me, I think.
Yeah.
And she cares for Vogel as much, you
You leave
we're
him
just
alone.
complete strangers. Yeah.
You leave him alone.
And I bite my tongue and turn away.
Yeah.
And we run like the wind, Clock.
Nice. So what I'd like to do is to follow Mr. Clock as he tries to lead the wild hunt across town. You know, you guys are each going to have a pair of wild hunters after you, leaving, the rest of the pack to try and pursue whatever. They're off in 3 different directions. So, Mr. Clock, how are you picking your way through Mills Creek? What's step 1?
I think down dark alleyways, small areas that they would have trouble maneuvering, and definitely swinging a sword down.
Yeah, sadly, this is semi-rural America. So those such spaces are relatively few in this town, but you can definitely get them into not open terrain kind of stuff, so that you've got you can duck and dive, jump through people's gardens, that kind of thing. And yeah, you can hear the clip clop clip clop clip clop and the horn echoing around these streets. I think you're in a sort of like residential area of Mills Creek, like the sort of the most built up kind of area, which isn't saying much here, but bordered by woods on one side, that kind of thing. So would you like to, well, you see the hunters are on your tail here. Are you going to take them out, or are you going to try and escape from them?
I'm going to supernaturally try and basically lead them on as much of a goose chase as I can, bide time, and then I will don the face of Koshe the Endless, which magically should again change my aura and lose them.
I like that. That's a good call. Let's have you make your first flee for your life as you try and lead them on a merry jig.
So we've got expertise and normal dice.
Mm-hmm.
We have a 6.
A 6.
Herb. Yeah.
Nice.
So we need to roll for stress.
Yes, you need to roll for stress. I think the stress that you roll for is that somebody is stops the car in the road, as you're looking down an alley, and you can see these 2 horsemen looking around, right? And they come out of the car and they go, "Hey, get your horse out." As just an arrow slices right through the neck. And yeah, an innocent taken by the hunt.
No, that's less than my stress.
Yeah, Mr. Clark doesn't care.
Stay on mission. Stay on
yes.
mission.
However, I am going to spend a point of heat to extend the chase as you
Okay.
make it down the road, and they are coming after you, even though you've slipped away. But this is part of your leading them a merry chase. You know, like this is the
Yeah.
step one. They pursue you, but at a distance. And then, who next? Michael. Oh, in fact, sorry guys, should I check in? Do we need another break? Should we take another 5 minutes? All good? You want to take another 5 minutes?
5, please.
5 minutes. 5 minutes then. See you guys at 10 past. Professor Vogel, you're driving the van out of, you probably tried to drive out of town south, right? Like you dropped off Mr. Clock. He's going east. You're circling back around to the north. Michael maybe heading like northeast or whatever, right? But you're each going in 3 different directions out of the place. And
yeah, and I think Vogel like waits a couple of heartbeats until the 2 cents go in 2 different directions.
And Ellie's were those guys on horses? They seem real familiar. And who was that guy in the alleyway?
Have you seen him before?
I mean, my brother, he works out in the town next over. He said that there was some guy who looked like that, asking around.
Yes, they have been on your trail for some time. I'm so happy that we found you before they found you.
And there is the sound of a motorcycle engine coming down the road in the dark, sort of quiet streets. There's not many other cars in this town, and you hear the honking of a pickup truck as it weaves around him, and you can see it in the rear view mirrors. And there is a hulking figure on said big old school Harley Davidson. Think, Schwarzenegger in T2, coming up behind you.
Traveling really slowly.
Yeah, because I'm imagining Vogel's kind of mostly keeping in traffic laws, right? Like, so as not to draw like mundane attention.
Also, as a German, I have to follow the rules, man.
So, Felicity Vogel.
Well, this is clearly a Felicity thing.
Prof, you don't mind me making the drive a little bit messier for you?
Go ahead, Reaper.
Jesus. You realize I never called myself that, right?
Well, you reap what you sow, I guess.
That makes me feel very comforted. Thank you.
As you
and I'll
turn
lean out
around
the window. Yeah, with the assault rifle. And
are you leaning out the window or kicking open the back of the van?
Back of the van seems more realistic, but it's one of those things where I'm going to kick the doors open and drop to a prone position to stabilize the weapon.
Yeah, we can have you already like in the really cinematic, cool firing position when that door swings open, right?
Yeah.
Ellie huddled in the driver next to Vogel at the front, like, what's going on? And yeah, so Felicity,
just keep eyes forward, Ellie.
Felicity, as you swing open that van, the engines roar, and it comes swinging towards you, and he pulls out that broadsword again from his back, and he's coming up. So this is a confront the conspiracy.
It is indeed.
You,
how many risk dice am I rolling?
you are rolling 4 risk die.
Okay.
But thanks to the deterrent, you get the use of your expertise in this.
Because this thing is loaded with bronze bullets. I've got nothing but bronze bullets with me. Because, bronze bullets still going to kill something that's mortal.
If you want to have a full clip of bronze bullets so that it counts as a vulnerability rather than a deterrence and does 2 harm, as I said earlier, then you can call on a contact to have a full clip of it. I think what Michael did before gave you access to a bronze item that wasn't, you know, of the infinite ammo variety, essentially, right? Because otherwise, you just have a heavy machine gun and spray everything forever. You could each carry 1 bullet from it.
And you said 1 intel for that?
Yeah, why not? 1 intel.
Okay. So I'll spend that intel to have had Rowan, or excuse me, Rook, bring all that stuff.
No, 1
with
stress
the van.
actually. 1 stress. Sorry.
Oh, stress. Okay.
Yeah, a contact.
All right.
But I will say that will give enough bullets for everybody to have bronze bullets, because they're just bullets at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you know, it was one of those things when Rook brought the when Enders was on the phone with Rook about the van.
You know, bronze shoots for shit, right? It's going to deform over time. There's a reason they use lead in these things.
Yeah, but it was just one of those things. Like they told Enders, "Hey, have them bring a shitload of bronze bullets for us."
Fucking crazy guys. Hangs up the phone. Yeah, but cool. Anyway,
So, yeah.
Open fire.
All righty, let's see how much fun we get into with this. So I'm rolling 8 dice out of 9 possible. Oot. 6 on the stress die. It is the highest die.
It is the highest die. So stress goes up. Do you want intel or to remove a point of stress?
I'll just remove a point of stress.
Cool. He takes
4
2
harm.
damage, 2 harm.
Even with the bronze bullets?
Well, the bronze bullets turns it from 1 to 2.
Okay. I thought it was 2 extra.
No.
Okay. So 2 harm.
But on a 6, you get an added benefit. Which could be 3 harm total.
Well, of course, when have I said I don't want to do more harm? The one thing I will say is, could the extra benefit be taking out his motorcycle? Like one of the rounds hits the gas tank or something like that, leaving him transportationless?
Yeah, if you want to do that rather than kill him.
I could just kill him outright?
Well, with 3 harm. You know what I mean? It's like, do you want to do more harm to him or do you want to do more?
Well, I'm asking. It's like, will that 3 harm kill him outright? Because if
You'll
so,
find
why
out
blow
when
up
you
the bike?
choose, right? Like, that's the question, Puckett. Just because it felt as though you were saying, like, I want to kill him. I want to deal the extra harm and take out his bike, right? So I'm saying that, like, do you want to deal more harm or do you want to take out his bike? The 2 options.
Ooh.
Because taking out his bike, he won't come after you. If he has more stress, he will come after you.
Yeah. Take out the motorcycle. 2
Take out
harm.
the
Take out the
motorcycle.
bike.
Cool. Riddle him with bullets. He flings that broadsword at the van.
What do you mean riddle him with bullets? This is precision shooting.
Well,
Like this is like
yeah. And that broadsword swings past because it wasn't the highest one, and it embeds itself in the road. And then as he grips both hands of the motorcycle, he rips around, and you just put straight into the gas tank, and it goes up in a ball of flame, and he comes rolling out of it. And of course, as you drive off, there is that silhouetted figure, like rising up out of it and starting to
and for
walk.
my part, I raise up my hand. The hand that has the trigger finger on it, and instead of my trigger finger, I extend the finger next to it as a way of saying goodbye.
Nice. And you guys can race off away from the fire. Gilgamesh, what are you up to?
Well, I think if Clock is going through the alleys, I'm going to go up.
You're going to go up?
Yeah, so find a fire escape off Main Street and head upwards.
Oh, I thought you meant up the mountain.
No, and then go rooftop to rooftop.
Let's
see how well these steeds climb.
Cool. You can go running rooftop to rooftop down Main Street, right? Which I think is about the only place with the density of buildings in this kind of a setting. Yeah, you hear the foot, you see the horses going from in between building to building. Roll to maintain your cover.
Don't I want them to chase me?
Yes, but I think this maintaining the cover is more about height. Like they know that you're here because they sense you rather than they don't need to see you. It's more of a case of like they'll keep chasing you in proximity, right? I don't know. Do you
Oh, I
want them
see.
to,
Okay, no, I mean, if they don't want to come up to the roof, I'll
because
go
you said
back down.
rooftop, they
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
that, but,
No, no,
but they'll keep running around the area that you're in the rooftops. I'm essentially saying,
Okay.
do you want to keep like, or do you want to force, because they will follow you up onto the rooftops if you like.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Oh yeah, yeah. Then those steeds, you know, you see them going in and out of the buildings, and you pop your head. One of the hunters turns and looks up at you, and he whistles, and you hear this barking noise as you look over to the other, you know, down the street. So these suddenly figures pop up on the wall, on the horizon, backlit against the other lights, and the dogs, the hounds of the wild hunt, have swarmed up the side of the building and are now going to be following you across while the hunters are down below in the streets.
Okay. Then I will now, I've marked grenade. The question is it the right kind of grenade? I'd like to weaponize a threat, please, a vulnerability. I'll spend the intel I've got.
Do we
to
say
get
that
my-
grenades come under explosives?
I'll spend the stress if you want me to. Well, I assumed if I made them.
Oh yeah, that's the point. If you're making them, why not? Yeah.
So I'll spend the intel to get my expertise back, and I will roll all 3 dice to weaponize the bronze vulnerability. That's success on a 5, and it's not on a stress dice. 4 or 5, a weapon that works for the entire scene. So do you want to read that as both the grenades?
Both the grenades. I like that. Yeah.
And put them on a string. And what I want to do is to catch the wild hunt in 2 grenades.
Okay. I think that is confronting.
It is.
What expertise do you think that is?
I suppose I'd make I tell you what, I'm just wondering, hang on, is it worth me spending stress on my sparks to make that a 6? Rolling a 6 means that it works all scene and applies double usual stress every time it's used successfully. I will spend another stress. Oh, that hurts. And mark my sparks to turn that 5 into a 6.
Cool. And you're hoping to essentially catch these the horsemen as they go through the alleyways beneath you, or the dogs as they come over the rooftops?
I mean, I have to say, I was hoping to kill the hunt.
The hunt. I see what you mean, as an entity. Yeah. Then I think that is definitely a case of the dogs will keep following you over the rooftops. The horses will keep following the dogs, right? But you lead them into some sort of choke point with your trap, right?
That's the objective.
Yeah. So I think that there is another role here, though, for doing that, right? And I mean, I'm almost saying that this is if it was any kind of expertise, it would probably be intrusion out of anything, right? Because it is more like slipping away.
If it would if I was slipping away. However, I'm using authority to summon them.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, yeah. I'm right here.
You want me? Come and get me.
Yeah, yeah. So I think this is a
failed in the future, you'll fail now.
Nice. This is definitely a confront with 4 wrist die.
Yeah, I thought it might be. So I think I'm going to risk cracking. What the hell? This matters. So I will include the stress dice. I'm using the grenades, which are heavy weapons, so I'll mark the heavy dice. I'll mark 4 risk die. Do I lose one of those risk die because I'm using a bronze deterrent?
No, but you are dealing extra damage and you are getting your expertise dice. They're not counting the armor, as I said before. Like because the power negated your expertise, so no, it doesn't anymore.
Okay, so that is all but 1 dice being rolled.
Okay.
So close. This can't go wrong, can it? Is there anything else I want to do? So no, success with this will do double normal damage, and I'm okay. Fair enough. Right. Okay. Here we go. Oh, the middle one didn't roll. Let me re-roll a 3. That is a 4. 6 on the risk die.
Okay.
So 4 is not on the stress dice. No. So stress doesn't go up.
No. But you do successfully
I'll worry about the
deal
consequence in a moment. So So let me go to confront.
You succeed with no obvious complication or benefit
I do.
from the take them out. So, you've done sufficient damage with your weaponized vulnerability to effectively take out the dogs and mess up, I'm going to say outright kill one of the hunters, and it just remains like one of them like pulls himself up from his horse that sort of whinnies pitifully, right, as the smoke clears from this alleyway. But then when we see you roll for your consequences, you are of course caught in the blast, right?
Of course. So let me see. Do I want to do anything? I don't get any option just to roll the stress dice. No, I'll not roll the stress dice. I'll roll the middle dice. Then there's no confusion. That is a 6.
A 6. So you were lucky this time.
Blowing
It hurts, but
backwards.
you'll live. Yeah. But that is it's a natural 6. So you mark intel, or you can.
Oh, so I do. Yeah.
Yeah, you can mark.
That.
Well, I tell you what. It just say roll for stress. So you should roll for stress, and then you should tell me whether or not you mark intel or remove a stress, right?
Okay. That is a 5. I won't bother. I'll keep the intel. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Really living close to the line on the stress die. Nice.
Absolutely.
So you are that alleyway, right, and the one left, basically, right, as you smoke clears, and there's this like, the queen will have her prey. And we cut over to Mr. Clock. Mr. Clock, they're still after you. They're getting close. It might be time for the crochet maneuver, right? As I think you've reached the end.
My wooden face.
You've reached the end of that alley of like the back streets and whatever, right? And they're coming, and they've almost got you like surrounded. So they're going to come up to you as you're going to transform yourself into crochet as the members of the hunt come upon you. And they come clopping up. I think we already rolled for you to create this mask, so I think it is simply a case of disguise. You could just do it that way, or if you want to roll in all 3, including the bonus dice, then it will be a use of your special ability, and so it will be a harness the dark. Effectively, your stress will go up by 1, but you'll get to roll both dice, and you can angle the stress dice if you like.
Yeah, I'll spend. Although I still have false face, so I could increase it by 1 anyway, couldn't I?
Yeah.
But that costs a stress, doesn't it?
It does cost a stress, yeah. Improve your odds at rolling, or wait and see if you want to use it as a bump. If you improve your odds at rolling, I think it does fit more fictionally, right? Because it's like supernaturally kind of like twisting auras and everything, right? In a way that you didn't previously.
You've sold me on it, Will. You've sold me on it.
Perfect.
So stress dice and 3 middle dice. Here we go. Can I bluff them? Gotcha. 6 on the stress.
6 on the stress. So stress goes up by 1. But you get to mark intel or remove stress.
I think in this situation, I'll not increase the stress, basically.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the horseman.
I'll just sort of nod to them.
The endless. You live.
Pursue your prey.
He has betrayed us.
What?
Will you lead the hunt?
I have other business for the Queen. More subtle business. You are the sword. I am the dagger. Now pursue that direction, huntsman.
The scent is not here. And they trot off into the darkness.
If I sweated, I would, but I don't.
Nice. Vogel, Felicity. police car comes screeching around the corner, lights flashing, and whips right past you. Do you think there's a police scanner in this car? There probably is, right? I think it crackles to life and it's saying like, we got reports of a homicide over on 4th and 5th, trespassers over on 6th and 9th, Jefferson Street. I need all cars. And Ellie's like looking terrified. And what's going to happen to me?
Well, Ellie, don't need to be alarmed at all. We have the situation under control. Me, Felicity here, and our whole team is behind you. What will happen to you is, it's really difficult to explain here in the car. As soon as we are in our safe place, I will tell you the whole story. But be, assured that we will do everything in our power that are substantial to protect you.
Ellie,
And
do you drink?
I'm not 21.
It is illegal in this state, I have to say, which is insanity, to be totally honest, because it should be 16.
I mean, I was going to offer you a shot, a slug off this flask, because it might make hearing the stuff a little bit easier. And
She just reaches out and takes it.
Vogel shakes his head. Still illegal.
listen, this is an extreme situation.
Well, this is not Vietnam. There are rules.
Don't make me call you Smokey, Prof.
And you're driving, right? As you do this, you're having all this discussion as you drive, right? There is a lurch, and the van blows a tire.
Aye.
And you manage to keep it under control, and you see another member of the hunt, bow drawn, atop his horse, and he lowers it, and he's basically shot your van tire out. And I've declared the complication of gear check. You need gear you haven't declared yet, right? Which is going to be spare tire, I suppose, or other vehicle. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing, basically. That was the closest complication I could see to stopping a car and for some drama. So yeah, you've skidded to a halt, right? Ellie's crashed or like onto the dashboard. Felicity, I think that you were unsecured in the back of the van, right, as you drove off, basically. So I think that Vogel's going to be the one who has to act first here, as the because you're picking yourself up from the sort of disarray at the back of the van, right?
I mean,
And Ellie's says, "She lives. She lives."
Where's the guy on the horse?
Coming towards you.
Coming towards us on the
Yeah,
horse.
at a gallop. Notched, black bow notched.
High speed. I will take out my, service weapon and load it with bronze bullets, obviously, and shoot him in the face.
Okay. Roll to confront. It's 4 wrist die. You get to keep your expertise in.
Let's see. Expertise.
Mhm.
What is my hand to hand? And
Small
obviously
arms.
stress.
Would the Vorpal blade do anything here?
Ooh, I got a 6 on the stress die, but a 6 nevertheless.
The Vorpal blade
I
is a
haven't-
good bloody sword, but yes.
I haven't rolled how many wrist die? 4?
4 wrist die.
Crazy. Jesus. It is 4 on the wrist die.
Which is still lower than your highest dice, right?
It's lower than the 6.
Okay.
Off the badass in corduroy.
Thank you for that.
So,
Yeah, I think it looks like surprisingly controlled what Professor Vogel is doing. Reading his I don't know, what is the Walter PPK or something, and then
He's James Bond,
Shooting
apparently.
like-
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? James Bond. But,
Bund.
yeah. What's the extra benefit you would like to take from your 6?
That he falls off his horse.
Okay. Yeah. And you'd used bronze
Well,
bullets.
this is
an extra damage.
actually. Do we have like a line on shooting demon horses?
We don't have a line on shooting horses that people are riding on.
I think he will shoot. One of the bullets will catch the horse.
Oof. You shoot him, bullet pings through, and he, it's like he screams out in pain, but then he kicks the horse into further motion, and then you just lower your aim slightly, and poof, poof, horse just crashes to the ground, dissipating into smoke as it goes, and he staggers up to his feet, but he is now on foot. So if you could get that van moving properly.
I rolled a 6.
You did. So
on the stress die.
On the stress die, so your stress automatically goes up.
Mhm.
But now you can choose to take intel or remove stress.
Let me have a look.
You just choose that horse, and I'll trust you that you did it. Okay.
Okay.
Felicity.
Yo,
Ellie's like, we gotta go. We gotta go.
Ellie, take a drink. I'll be right back. It's good stuff. It's good whiskey. Aged 20 years. I mean, you realize that whiskey is as old as you are? I'll be right back.
Yeah, I was going to
And
say, the longer that you tell her about the whiskey, the closer the guy gets to the car. Right?
So at that point, I just step around the side of the van. I see him approaching, and I open up. This is really close range. I'm just pointing in his direction and shooting center mass. And I'm full auto. I'm not even bothering at this point.
Yeah.
Guys annoyed me.
Roll all of your dice. And
how many risk?
4 risk dice. I'll be honest with you. My feeling is that the odds are so much in your favor, and the consequences of the risk dice are so low. I tend to put it up quite high for everyone.
All right. So there's 2 4s, 1 on expertise, 1 on stress, and 2 4s on the risk dice.
Okay. So your stress was the highest and the tide. So your stress automatically goes up. Okay. But you do succeed. You deal enough harm to kill him. I'll let you know that you've with that bronze bullet, you kill him, but he just let that arrow fly. So you need to roll for the consequence, and that will be with a -1.
That's a 6.
That's a 6. So it hurts, but you'll live. I think that arrow just comes in and skitters off down the side of the rifle, right? Like just clipping one of your fingers.
I was going to say hits me in the shoulder or something like that. Just
Yeah.
a nick.
Cinematic, right?
Yeah.
Cinematic, it didn't go all the way through.
Yeah.
I'll
just climb back in the van
and
resume talking to Ellie about whiskey.
Well, Professor Vogel apparently is changing the tires.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Somebody's got to keep her chill.
Well,
shit, give me that.
she's starting swearing. We have a bad influence on her.
And
Listen,
she will help Professor Vogel with the tire jack.
I'm a bad enough influence that she's alive. All right, I'll take that.
If you're fixing the vehicle, like tire jacking it up in the van, then I think all you need to do is declare the jack. But obviously the fictional positioning is that you're going to be taking longer than trying to commandeer another vehicle that would allow you to immediately go. Right?
Yeah.
But it's not going to take long. It's going to take a few minutes to replace this tire with Ellie's help. She's pretty good at this. Nimble fingers.
Is it like a toolkit or what do I click?
Yeah, just put a toolkit down. That seems to fulfill the purpose, right? And we cut back to Gilgamesh down that alleyway. Hunter with his spear drawn, surrounded by the dead bodies of all of his comrades.
Yeah. So let's just get a little bit of breathing space, shall we?
You smell familiar.
By seeking some solace in describing my brother talking to a police detective about he was like my brother, but he was kind of wild-eyed and freaky.
And I think that younger Michael is in this scene with Peter, sat next to Peter, going,
Oh,
like, I
no,
got
no,
no
no.
idea. No,
Younger Michael is in the cells.
I was in the cells, right? But then I guess his brother's going like, but it wasn't my brother.
It wasn't him.
Wasn't
No,
my
it was
brother.
somebody. It looked like my brother, but you know, like he was older
Yeah,
and
sure
kind of,
thing, kids. No one ever wants to blame their family, but it's not, 99 out of 10 times, it's always the same guy. You know, you can't trust anyone these days, I tell you.
So I will reduce my stress by 1 and roll the stress dice just in case it's a 6. It's not. Oh well. So now that stress is down to 4, I reach into my pocket and declare another pair of bronze grenades, which I will attempt to demonstrate are actually working bronze grenades. Expertise on a stress dice. Here we go. Oh, stress dice didn't move for some reason. How strange. As a 6 on the expertise dice. So I will take the double damage, perfectly working bronze grenades. Thank you.
Nice. Okay.
Which I just roll towards him.
Okay. Roll to confront them again.
Using the heavy explosive grenades. Stress will be included. 4 risk die, did you say?
4 risk die, yes.
Don't bring a spear to a grenade fight. That is 6 for me. None of them are on the stress die. It's also a 6 on his risk dice.
Let's roll for the consequence then.
So I think I've taken him out. I'll roll the consequence. That is a 3.
There's a 3. Do you
So
want to declare a armor? Or?
Yeah, I think I will. What I think is only fair, Will, is I think I don't think I was medium because I was in the van.
Yeah.
I think when I legged it, I left a lot of stuff in the van.
Yeah.
I think that's only fair, but that still, I think, allows me a stab vest. Except I didn't put it under S, did I?
Ballistic stab vest.
Ballistic, of course, that's what it's
go.
under.
So I think he froze that spear, right? And it thunk, and you go, and then you throw the grenade back. And there is and then there's like, I think butterflies flying out of the, like the smoke and the thing like dissipating on the wind.
Can I suggest something? I was going to say something less summer.
Yeah,
would be a sudden explosion of hail.
Hail, yeah, I like that. Yeah,
that hits the wall and melts.
Yeah, but don't you have to roll for stress because you roll a 6?
I do have to roll for stress, and that's close. A 3.
But not close enough.
Not close enough.
You taking intel or reducing stress? You choose that, Alan. I'll trust whatever you've chosen to do. Okay.
Sorry, yes, I've chosen intel.
Yeah, no worries. And then Mr. Clock, you're whistling your way down the streets as Crochet, right? Unharmed by the wild hunt. You can make your own leisurely way out of this town now. When figure stumbles around the corner, bleeding, heavily injured, and with these like eyes piercing through this bone mask, he looks at you and says, "You're not her, and you're not him. Where is she?"
She is everywhere. You will not have her.
We're running out of time.
I do not know where she is. But let me give you relief, my friend.
Well, you're saying that, and that's when one more of the wild hunt whistles and says, "We found him. He's here." And the other complication is that there is not thingy. what is it called? Who is the bad guy? Because the wild hunt immediately attacks the big figure in front of you. What does Mr. Clock do?
What, the guy that was speaking to me?
Yeah, he turned the huntsman, the leader of the hunt, as you know him, who wears all the regalia of the leader of the hunt, turns around and is attacked by his own hunters.
Let me just go back to what the brief was.
It was extract. Emily was your objective.
Yeah, on the leads. What battle will lead to the?
Yeah, so
where's this
basically,
guy?
before in the original timeline, some shit went down here, and people were killed, and there was a fight of some kind, right? And he was looking for Ellie. And
yeah.
the hunters are going to say to their leader, "You betrayed the queen. You should have killed the girl."
Well, I'm going to help this guy out then. I mean, well, how many people is he against? If it looks like silly odds, I'll just do a runner and he can suffer.
I'm very tempted, but I think you've got a window here. You know, you succeed in a confront here. You can drive this one off long enough for you to make some sort of escape with him in tow. You know.
Excellent. That's what we're after then.
Yeah, and this will only be 3 risk die because
wow.
he is helping you out. He's in this fight as well.
Okay. So let's use the old brass bullets.
Bronze bullets.
Or bronze bullets.
Yeah, brass bullets are probably more accurate, right? Like, yeah.
So let me get a weapon here. Is there any difference between a pistol and assault rifle?
Assault rifle has auto further range. I think at this distance is not. You can have work.
Let me find a pistol then.
If you want
handgun.
Yeah, and if you want to declare that your handgun is a sawn or shotgun, I'm more than happy for it to be that.
Yeah. So
just to go with a full Terminator, right?
So let's have stress dice. We've got expertise because small arms.
Yeah.
We've got standard dice. I haven't got deadly heavy because it's not deadly or heavy.
Nope.
And we've got
3 risk die.
Okay, let me just check. I have got the stress. Yes, I have. That's good enough for me. Let's see what we get. Oh, that's not good.
That's not good at all, is it?
No, that's not good at all.
That's not good at all.
Oh well. Sorry. That's dice rolls.
Success at a cost. Just for the purposes of our watching public, that is 3 1s and more than 1 on the risk die.
I think he's got to go, Will, really.
Yeah, I guess that's the success at a cost is that you can't save him, right? Like, yeah. And I will say that you do kill.
As he's getting into the car, basically a spear sort of goes in his back.
Yeah, you do kill that guy, right? Like the one that come after you. You blow him away enough to wound him, and he's like writhing on the floor with the bronze bullets inside of him, giving you enough time to turn the gun to the van driver that's pulled up behind you and go like out. Cochet's like stern face, and you drag this wounded guy into the car with you, and you're driving down the road, and he says, she was just a girl. I couldn't do it. Do you have children?
I do. I feel your pain.
You would do anything to protect. Arrow through the window, straight into his face.
And I think I will, just as he's sort of dying, go, no, I probably wouldn't do anything.
Oh. And I think with an eye on the time, that Mr. Clock can, drive off out of there, probably kicks that body out of the side of the car, right? Knowing Mr. Clock, right? Which is, we just leave the hunters gathered around that silhouette, right?
And that will perhaps explain why that catastrophic failure by Clock fills the heat track again.
Yeah. Yeah. But the wrist die was higher, wasn't it, Paul?
It was.
I don't think there's any, because you have enough space to declare.
I've got enough
armor.
space for a vest, so
Yeah. Let's not bother
let's
with it then.
glide over that.
Yeah. Just your crochet faces starts to has shrapnels of glass from the thing embedded in it, and you look in the mirror as you're driving, going, I'll have to fix that. So I think that I won't engage in the hard move of your van's got to be done. I will just have all that heat ready, and you're driving away. So I think we'll call that an end of the session, and we'll have a investigation at the start of the next one, as you can talk with Ellie and find out what the consequences are of you doing this. But you have achieved your objective. We'll just go through all the stress relief and everything after that. Paul, you had a great suggestion earlier. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 heat spent to have all of your.
Only 6.
Only 6.
Because I forgot to mark missing.
Oh, even better. So I have 4 heat to play with still. But yes, so the cutscene at the end of it is that cell. Michael sat there looking at the young Michael sat there looking up as they open the door, and he says, yeah, you're your brother changed his whole story. Yeah, nothing going on there at all. And he comes in and Peter's like, come on, Michael, let's go. And he's very strangely calm. And then as he passes the mirror, you see the gnarled form of a changeling walking behind Michael. An answer machine message rings on Professor Vogel's desk. Dad, your colleague got in touch with me. I have he's been saying some real worrying stuff about you. We need to come talk, okay? I'll be coming around your office. And the door jingles in the latch as he opens the door, and waiting inside there are these gremlins and goblins all lining the side of the door, the walls and the stairs and everything, right? And Felicity, we don't know much about Lucas, your younger brother, but I think that he is called to the nurse's office, where a very smiling woman reaches down and says that offers him a piece of candy that glimmers strangely in the light, and maybe a gift from the Fae. And one should never accept a gift from the Fae. And of course, poor Marta Wertenberger leaves 32nd Street Temple talking about the crazy time that she's had, and now she has this memory gap of a period that she doesn't know. And for some reason she ended up in Jersey on a Jersey bus. Who goes to Jersey, for God's sake? It's almost like Staten Island. And yeah, she's going down the road when I think just the Koshé Bratva just literally grab her off the streets. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the end
I
of
was rather hoping that the Orthodox Mafia had intervened under the control of the rabbi, but go with guys in tracksuits. What the hell?
Guys in tracksuits, yeah. I
The
mean,
tracksuit mafia. You've been watching way too much Hawkeye.
Bro, yeah, they go sis, and then they grab her. But that's the end of our episode. So thanks very much, guys. I'm going to call an end to the recording. Wave goodbye to the internet.